sticking. I want all of this goodness that we worked on. Our paste marinade. Look at the texture, y'all. We worked on this, baby, and we want this to be in the pan. Oh, yes. Like, for instance, with this drumstick, see, I had pulled the skin all the way back off the leg while cleaning it. See that? I'm just going to pull it back. Hey y'all, hey. Welcome back to Keisha's Crumbs. Well, we have a special appreciation for all things homemade, and we hope that you will too. Y'all, it is Sunday. It's almost mid-December, and we are about to cook Sunday dinner. So I hope you will join me here, honey. I have on my festive, I like to call it the Little Debbie shirt from last year. But let's get into this meal. Actually going to make some jerk chicken. So I had drumsticks in the freezer. My cleansing solution for my poultry and almost any other meat is going to be white vinegar, iodized salt, and water. So this has been soaking for an hour now in this cool water mixture with the ingredients I just stated. So this helps draw out the blood, y'all. It's just, now that I do this to my meat, I can't hardly have it any other way. But I'm going to show you something additional that you should do. I just poured the cleansing solution off the chicken and just put regular cool water on it. But let me show you the next step. We need a pair of gloves. All right, y'all. So what we're going to do at this point is we're going to actually scrape our chicken. While it's wet, what you do, and I even did this with the whole fryer, is you just run your knife down the skin. Just think of ingrown feathers, if you would. You know how we as humans can have ingrown. So you think of this as like ingrown feathers. This just helps to make sure your chicken is really, really clean. While you're going through and trimming off the additional fat that you don't want. And in this case, this is what I get for using this dull knife. I should have sharpened it, actually. I won't call it dull because I haven't sharpened it after several uses. But you just scrape it like that. Your skin is not going to break. You just scrape it, scrape it, scrape it. And then with this recipe, we actually want to be able to put the seasoning, the jerk seasoning, under the skin. So you can do all of that at once. Go ahead and prep your skin to fold back if that's what you are aiming for. Cut off the additional fat. All of those things you can do at one time. So y'all know I like to leave a little fat on my chicken. This will help keeps it moist. And we're just gonna scrape down on the chicken like that. So even if you had your whole chicken, you just, and actually these drumsticks are much cleaner than that whole chicken was. So it just goes to show y'all, you never know. I mean, even from one grocery store to another, you know, you just can't predict the condition of your food. You just can't assume because it came from somewhere. You just need to take the same precautions in every case because it's all about not only the supplier, number one, that's one element to take into consideration, but then also, you know, just whatever condition the chicken may have been in prior to making it to the supplier. You just never know. So that's what we're doing. We're going to go through and cut off the excess fat. We're going to make sure that the skin is lifted with our knife, and this would be easier on the cutting board, but I'm going to make sure I pull it back with my hand anyway. But that's what I wanted to show you all. So I'm doing this with water still in the bowl so that I can kind of rinse my knife as I go along. And then we're going to rinse this chicken thoroughly under cool water once again. All right, y'all. One thing you want to do with jerk chicken, no matter what recipe you're using, is, and mine will be in the description box. You won't see me give exact measurements in all cases throughout the video, But as I determine how much I'm using, I'll try my best to call it out so that when I'm creating the description box, I can include it for you, okay? I'm trying to do everything I can to accommodate my crumb catchers. All right, so when you're doing jerk chicken, it needs to be dry for the most part. And what you want to do is you want to pull your skin back. I don't know if y'all have ever been to like restaurants or gotten a plate from anywhere where it had jerk chicken and it's like there's only seasoning on the outside. Well, we're gonna make sure that our flavor gets inside because we're gonna pull the skin back like that, all the way back on the lid. So that when we get ready to go in with our seasoning, we can go underneath that skin. And see, there's just that little membrane, nothing to be afraid of. Because if you were eating the chicken with skin on, I mean, it's still there. So you're just seeing the membrane that attaches the skin to the chicken. Okay, if there's anything extra you want to pull off, you can. But that's what I'm going through and just pulling that back. Show you one more. This one is practically done because of everything I removed when I was cleaning it. There's a little attachment right there. Go through it with your knife and just steadily pull back. You know, honey, I'm from Louisiana, so we love our seasoning. That seasoning need to run deep. We are deeply offended when the seasoning does not run deep, honey. Oh, yes. We're deeply offended when the seasoning is only surface level. It's like, why am I here? What is this? So we're peeling it back just like that. Now that we have retracted the skin, we are going through the bowl and you move the chicken around because you know water settles at the bottom. So I'm dabbing the chicken with the paper towel in addition to making sure no water has settled at the bottom of my bowl. That is key in jerk chicken because that's one of the ways you're going to ensure that your skin is somewhat crispy. Now, I'll be honest, I'm going for a wet style jerk chicken. We like it juicy, we like it wet. And so, well, you'll see. Let me get the ingredients for the jerk chicken marinade. All right, here we are, y'all. Here are our ingredients for our jerk chicken marinade, wet jerk, as I like to call it. So, as you can see, we're going to use some cinnamon, some thyme, ginger, cloves, cayenne. I probably won't use the cumin. I've decided on brown sugar instead. Body of complete, just because it has all those good herbs. This is chicken shit, which I purchased from a winery in Shreveport, Bossier. I put it on my whole fried chicken the other night, and it really tasted good. I really like the way it tasted. I hadn't been using it much prior to yesterday, but I liked it. So it has a lot of black pepper in it for one thing, and I'm not a fan of black pepper, so that's normally why I don't use it. But jerk is supposed to have black pepper in it. And then to make it wet, we're gonna add the maple bourbon. I could have just gone in with maple syrup, but since I already have this Jim Beam maple bourbon barbecue sauce, we're gonna use that. And then we also use the extra virgin olive oil for our fat, for our moisture, and to help bring everything together into a thick, beautiful paste. One more thing, y'all, I almost forgot smoked paprika. You definitely want that as well. Yeah, I have ginger in the tube as well. So I have ginger powder as a seasoning, but since I have some already pressed in the tube, I'm going to use it because this is going to make it just that much more flavorful. So sorry, I keep adding things, but hey, that's how it goes. And I'm even going to explain to you all why I'm putting the ingredients in the order that I am. Okay, because I'm definitely going to go in a certain order. I'm going to start with the seasonings. The seasonings that have my salt content, like my body and my chicken shit, because when you just say, for instance, when it comes to nutmeg, you're not gonna want too much nutmeg. Some recipes you see will call for allspice, but as long as you have cinnamon and nutmeg, and especially with ginger included, then you have allspice. But I'm going to go in with my main seasonings that, as long as I can ensure that I'm not using too much of it to make it too salty, then I'm good to go. Whereas with something like cinnamon or nutmeg, it's easier to overdo it, if that makes sense, because you only a little goes a long way. So we're going to start with the first one. Now, I know this looks like a lot, and it is a lot, because even though I just have 6 drumsticks, I'm actually making enough so that when I get ready to do jerk chicken again, I'll already have the dry mix. So that's one thing you want to do when you go through something like this. Go ahead and make a good batch of it. So when you get ready to cook that same thing again, you won't have to go through making the dry mix. So this is the chicken shit. So these are my salt elements. And I'm using even more of this than I did the body, because the body is mainly for herbs. Okay, I don't have to worry about over salting at this point, because as I layer these ingredients in my bowl, I'm going to taste them. And if something is too salty, then I know I need to balance it by adding something else. Okay, so at this point, we have chicken shit, which is like our all-purpose chicken seasoning. We have Badia Complete. I'm going to go ahead and add in just a little cayenne pepper. We don't want it to be too hot because it already has black pepper in it. Okay, so I'm going to give that a stir just so I can see it. Okay, another thing I'm going to go ahead and add in is my brown sugar. You can use light or dark. I'm a light brown sugar type of girl. Reason being, I don't like things very sweet. I always look for a balance in dessert or in foods that have a sweetness to it. I look for balance. So dark brown sugar is a little too sweet for me. If you like your meat really, really sweet, then you can use dark brown. Okay. So that was, I would say that was, and I want to put it on record so I can write it down in the description box. So that was about 1/4 cup of Badia. About 1/4 cup of chicken shit, or a little more. And again, you're gonna put those salt elements in to your taste and to your liking anyway. Okay, I put in about a teaspoon of cayenne pepper, and I'm gonna put in about a teaspoon of smoked paprika. And this paprika, for some reason, I don't know if it's the way it was processed or what, but it is so fine and powdery. It's really difficult to come out when you're just shaking it. So I'm gonna pour it in there. That's about a teaspoon of smoked paprika. We're gonna put in a 1/2 teaspoon of nutmeg, a 1/2 teaspoon of cinnamon, a whole teaspoon of thyme, that's the Instapot going off, y'all. The potatoes should be ready. This is clove. I don't remember telling y'all what all I had. I think I just showed it to you, but you're aware. We're gonna do a 1/2 teaspoon of clove. So the clove, the nutmeg, the cinnamon, and the ginger powder, I'm doing all a 1/2 teaspoon. I don't like a lot of the ginger powder, but I will go in with some more fresh ginger. You can do that according to your taste. And y'all, it's easy to do because you're making up this dry mixture. So you haven't put it on your food, you haven't seasoned with it. You get to determine how salty you want this, how spicy you want this, how strong you want the aromatics like the cinnamon, nutmeg, and cloves and or allspice. You get to determine that as you go. And so what I would recommend, now I have all dry ingredients in here. The rest of it is wet. My ginger, my fresh ginger is wet. My EVOO is wet. And my barbecue sauce is wet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to taste this and make sure it's the way I want it before I incorporate wet ingredients. Again, just making it easier to layer my seasonings more effectively and according to my taste. You do it according to yours. Oh my goodness, y'all. Oh, oh my goodness. I'm too good at this. Let me wash my hands. I'll be right back. All right, y'all. So I'm back. Yes, this is perfect for a general recipe for, across the masses. This is perfect. For me personally, I would like to go in with a little more cayenne just to make it hotter, but I'm not going to add that to the recipe. This, what I just gave y'all before these additions, it is perfect. It is so balanced. That brown sugar against the clove and the nutmeg and such, it's just balanced perfectly. Okay, so now that that is done, I'm gonna go in with the ginger because we're turning this dry mix into a paste. I don't know if you've ever and I'm just gonna use all of this ginger, y'all. Remember, this is optional. If you want to include fresh ginger, you can. My family loves ginger, so I'm gonna give it all I got, honey. Literally, I gave it all I got. But we're taking what's called a dry rub. Like if you were barbecuing meat or smoking meat, that alone would be a dry rub. Then a lot of times people go in with a dry rub and a wet rub. Now the thing to do just to make it quick and efficient is to create a paste. So a paste is about, let me see, and for this EVOO, you're going to use a fourth of a cup of EVOO. Let's see how that looks. But yeah, a paste is like the perfect blend of trying to use a wet marinade and a dry one, a dry rub. Just create a paste. So if there was a fourth of a teaspoon, I'm gonna go in again. Looks like we might end up with, I'm sorry, half a cup. I started out with a fourth of a cup. There was another fourth of a cup. And now you can see the texture of it. Like dry mud almost. It's muddy, it has some moisture to it, but it's not wet. Maybe wet sand is a better example. Now I will tell you in terms of moisture, if you overdid it one way or the other, I would say go on the wetter side with your marinade. If you think, you're trying to think, is it too dry? Is it too wet? I would lean towards the wetter side for my marinade because two reasons. It's just gonna make the meat just that much more flavorful. Ensure that you're able to spread your marinade over your meat effectively. And with a dry rub, sometimes it is more difficult. And also, it's going to make your meat more moist. So, like I said, I like wet. Now, this is optional as well. If you want to know the measurement, I would say that was definitely about a fourth of a cup. I'm not going to go in with any more because then my marinade will end up tasting like barbecue. And I do definitely still want it to taste more like jerk than like barbecue. Okay, the barbecue sauce is to give it some extra wetness and some smokiness and to help us get it just that so that our meat will be moist versus a dry jerk chicken. Okay, so there you have it, y'all. I'm not gonna do anything else to it. Y'all just saw it live. What I've done is I've lined it with, yes, this is pink butcher paper, y'all. I use it for my briskets. And the reason why I like to use it in the oven is because this really holds moisture. I know that foil does too, but butcher paper, it's just different. Foil conducts more heat, then your meat ends up just, I don't want to say drier, but it ends up cooking it more, whereas this doesn't cook at all. I'm sure that's what it is because now that makes sense. We know that aluminum foil radiates heat. This doesn't. But what this does do is hold in all that good fat, like with your briskets and stuff. That's why people wrap their ribs and their briskets in butcher paper. And it also yeah, it just holds everything in together. Now, I'll still have a good bit of oil on my actual pan, so I can't say it makes for an easier cleanup. We have lined our pan. I'm choosing to do that because I don't want anything sticking. I want all of this goodness that we worked on, our paste marinade. Look at the texture, y'all. We worked on this, baby, and we want this to be in the pan. Oh, yes. I want to tell you that based on our measurements that are going to be in the description box, it's going to make about a cup. I was looking at this and I said, Keisha, that's about a cup of marinade. That wasn't even my intent. But I want to go ahead and measure this out so then we could say that if you follow the measurements that was provided in the video, you will end up with a cup of paste. And so even though now, the wet ingredients have been incorporated, you can still put this in the refrigerator, until you get ready to make the recipe again. But I want you to know how much you actually have. So let me grab a measuring cup. But this is a cup, y'all. So check this out. And this will also let you know when I'm calling out measurements as I'm cooking. This will let you know if I'm accurate or not. Now, I bet if anything, you would have guessed that it was more than a cup in here. And it's not. It is right at a cup. Let me get a spatula to get the rest out. That is bananas. That is bananas to me. That I was just making the marinade and we ended up with a cup of it. And I wasn't even trying to do that. Look, y'all. People want recipes and I don't cook that way. I can't. When I try to make myself cook that way, I just feel so out of sorts. I can't do it, y'all. See, that's all of it. Look, it made a cup of marinade with me just eyeballing everything. Can't even say that it's because I started with a cup of brown sugar. Thankfully, I hadn't put this in the dishwater yet. This is what I had the brown sugar in, and this is just a half a cup. It has two measurements in. I don't know if y'all can see that. So if we were to just put it in at the rim, that first rim, it would be a third. But when it's filled up, it's a half. So my point is, y'all, this is a cup of marinade. Oh my God. And we weren't even trying. So let them know, baby. Keisha's Crumbs, the measurements. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. We have our skin peeled back. Now, because I want to be able to salvage whatever amount of this marinade, I don't want to cross-contaminate. So I'm going to pour some on here. I'm not going to stick my spatula in here because I don't think I'm going to use all of this. Now, don't get me wrong, baby. I like my meat wet and saucy. So, if we get to the end and I feel like I need more, I will add more. But let's just take our spatula. This was the perfect tool. And rub this on. We're going to rub it on. And just like pantyhose, honey, we're going to pull the skin up on the legs. We're going to pull this skin up on these drumsticks like we would pantyhose. And then we're going to put more of the sauce. So having said that, I probably will use all of my marinade, y'all. This is definitely about 1.5 pounds to 2 pounds of meat. So we'll use that in terms of our measurement for our protein. Jerk chicken normally comes in the form of your dark pieces, which are your leg and your thigh. But if you only like white meat, I would definitely still say go for it. Go for it. This will still be delicious. Just definitely pull your skin back on your breast and make sure that you apply this marinade on top, directly on top of the meat. And then again on the skin. Like for instance, with this drumstick, see, I had pulled the skin all the way back off the leg while cleaning it. See that? I'm just gonna pull it back. I wanna make sure I show y'all that. Pull it back down over the leg, pull it back down. And see, now we have a beautiful paste underneath the skin. And we're gonna go and cover the outside as well. Okay, so now y'all can see I have arranged the chicken in the pan. And all I have to do now is go in and put a little more on the surface of the chicken. And y'all, when I tell y'all, I'm so glad I did this because this smells wonderful. I mean, the fact is, when you layer seasonings, and when you pair flavors together that marry well, you can smell how it's going to taste. Like, it's not going to taste any different than it smells. And this smells amazing. This really does smell amazing. So I'll just have to make some more when I get ready to do pork. I can't wait to try this on like ribs and, oh my goodness, wings. My daughter's definitely gonna want to have it on some wings. And yeah, y'all, it smells the bomb.com. The last thing I want to do is slice some red onion, because we love onion. So I would like to slice some red onion and just lay it on top so the flavor from that onion can bake down as well. Y'all look at how much sauce is left. So, all right, y'all, let's break down a little red onion, or a lot. Oh goodness. Wondering what is everybody cooking for the holidays. We really overdid it for Thanksgiving, so I can't believe after years and years and years of trying to convince my mom to do something different for Christmas, she finally agreed. And she said we could have heavy hors d'oeuvres. I'm so excited about that. So I'm going to go and make a list of heavy hors d'oeuvres and provide some recipes for like my cousins who always want a recipe. And that way, if people want a recipe or want ideas, they'll have it. Okay, so we're just gonna take these beautiful onion, y'all, and we're just gonna I don't even want to break them up all that much. I want them to literally roast down in the meat. So I'm just gonna kind of lay them around. Maybe halfway through, I'll go and move it around a bit. But for now, I want to lay that onion right on top. Like that. Beautiful. My Aunt Shirley would say, ooh, it looks good enough to be almost already. So we're going straight in the oven on, I think I'm going to put it on 400. I'm always afraid to put things on 425. And I'm not afraid to say that. Going in the oven right now, y'all. I'm going to set the timer for 40 minutes. And then, of course, I'm here in the kitchen. So this schnauzer I have will tell me if we need to peek it at any sooner. But for now, I put on 40 minutes. This is the white onion I had. So I'm going to put this in here and set it to the side. So our chicken is in the oven, guys.
All right, y'all, this is at the 45-minute mark. My microphone went off at this point, but you can see how beautifully the jerk has caramelized. This chicken was delicious. What I did, after I first took it out, I got a spoon and I spooned sauce out of the bottom of the pan back over the chicken, and I put it back in the oven for an additional 10 to 12 minutes. So that allowed it to bake and caramelize even further. Now, I will say what I will do the next time, and if you like your chicken, more cooked with not as much moisture, you can cook it without the foil the entire time, as it was done here. However, if you want it with even more moisture in the pan, then I would recommend covering the pan for the first 45 minutes of cook time, and then after you take it out of the oven and spoon the marinade back over the top, putting it back in the oven for an additional 10 to 12, leave it uncovered that second time around. Okay, but either way is delicious. Y'all, this is asparagus with olive oil, cojita cheese, a little pink Himalayan salt, and a fresh squeeze of lemon towards the end. Fresh squeezed lemon to finish it off. It's cojita cheese, cojita, not Parmesan.